My beloved brothers and sisters, before you close your eyes tonight, ask yourself a simple question. How many nights have you slept without speaking to Allah? You scroll, you worry, you overthink, you fear tomorrow's bills, tomorrow's responsibilities, tomorrow's uncertainty, then you sleep disconnected. And yet Allah promises us that remembrance brings tranquility, and tranquility brings clarity, and clarity brings provision. Tonight, I want to share with you 3 ayat from the Qur'an that, when recited before sleep with sincerity, align your heart with barakah in rizq. Not magic, not instant wealth, but something far deeper and far more lasting. One, rizq does not begin in the hand, it begins in the heart. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people reduce rizq to numbers, a salary, a bank balance, a sudden payment. That is a very small definition for something Allah made vast. If rizq were only money, then the richest people would be the most peaceful. But look around you. How many people have wealth yet cannot sleep? How many earn more than enough yet live in constant fear of losing it? How many chase increase and lose themselves in the process? That alone should tell you that rizq begins somewhere much deeper than the hand. Rizq begins in the heart. When Allah places peace in your chest as you lie down at night, that is rizq. When your mind is not racing with envy, comparison and panic, that is rizq. When you are content enough to say, Alhamdulillah, what Allah has given me today is enough, that is rizq. Without that inner state, money becomes a test that breaks you instead of a blessing that supports you. Rizq is also restraint. It is the ability to say no to what looks attractive but would destroy your akhirah. Many people fall into haram not because they are greedy, but because their hearts are restless. They are impatient, they are desperate, and desperation makes people blind. When Allah gives you contentment, He saves you from chasing what will cost you your dignity, your faith, and your peace. That protection is a form of provision that many people never recognize. Rizq is clarity. When you can make decisions without confusion, when you are not constantly second-guessing yourself, when your heart is calm enough to choose what is right instead of what is loud, that is Allah providing for you. Confusion drains people more than poverty. A confused mind wastes time, energy, and opportunities. Clarity allows you to move forward steadily, even if progress looks slow. This is why reciting Qur'an before sleep is so powerful. You are not reciting to demand something from Allah. You're not reciting to bargain. You're not reciting to say, oh Allah, I read, now give. No. You are reciting to surrender. You are telling Allah, I acknowledge that. You know what? I do not. I acknowledge that. You see what I cannot. I acknowledge that my plans are limited and your wisdom is complete. That surrender settles the heart. And when the heart settles, it stops forcing outcomes. It stops rushing. It stops making decisions from fear. It stops chasing rizq in ways Allah never intended. These ayat, when recited before sleeping, train the heart to trust before the body rests. They remind you that while you sleep, Allah is fully in control. Nothing pauses when you close your eyes. Your sustenance does not freeze overnight. Your future does not become uncertain because you rested. Allah does not need your anxiety to provide for you. A heart that trusts Allah sleeps differently. It sleeps without carrying tomorrow's burden. It sleeps knowing that whatever is written will arrive on time, not early, not late. And here is the truth many people avoid. When the heart is aligned with Allah, rizq often changes form before it increases in amount. Allah may first remove waste. Allah may first remove harmful desires. Allah may first remove people or habits that were draining your blessings. Allah may first stabilize what you already have. Only after that does increase come. Because increase without stability destroys people. When halal doors open quietly and haram doors close without struggle, that is Allah responding to a heart that has aligned itself. When you no longer feel pulled toward shortcuts, lies or compromises, that is Allah enriching you internally. And when Allah enriches you internally, external provision follows in the way He knows is best, not the way your impatience demands. Some people wake up surprised by money. Others wake up surprised by peace. Others wake up surprised by opportunities they never saw before. All of that is rizq. So tonight, do not measure provision by what arrives in your hand by morning. Measure it by what Allah settles in your heart before sleep. Because a heart at peace is already wealthy. 2, the night is when tawakkul is proven. My beloved brothers and sisters, anyone can claim trust in Allah when life feels manageable. Anyone can say, I rely on Allah when things are going well, when income is steady, when answers seem close. But real tawakkul is not tested in daylight. It is tested at night. The night strips you of distractions. No noise, no busyness, no pretending. When you lie down, the thoughts you avoided all day suddenly speak. Bills, responsibilities, uncertainty, fear of what tomorrow might bring, fear of what you cannot control. That is when trust becomes real. At night, your hands are empty. You cannot earn, plan, or fix anything while you sleep. The night forces you into a position of weakness. And weakness is where tawakkul either collapses or becomes sincere. When you recite Qur'an before sleeping, you are making a powerful statement without words. You are saying, Oh Allah, I accept my limits. You are admitting that there is a point where effort ends and reliance begins. Many people exhaust themselves because they never make that transition. They try to control what Allah alone controls. They carry tomorrow's burden into tonight's rest, and that steals peace long before it steals money. True tawakkul does not mean laziness. You still work, you still strive, you still plan responsibly. But tawakkul means knowing when to stop carrying what was never yours to carry. Reciting these ayat before sleep is that moment of release. You are placing tomorrow in Allah's care. You are trusting that the one who sustained you today will not abandon you tomorrow. You are reminding your heart that provision is not delayed because you rested, and it is not accelerated because you worried. Allah does not require your insomnia to deliver your rizq. The righteous understood this deeply. They loved the night not because it was easy, but because it revealed the truth of their reliance. In the quiet of the night, they learned to hand matters back to Allah completely. That is why their hearts were calm even when their circumstances were not. When you sleep after remembering Allah, you are not just resting your body, you are resting your fears. You are training your heart to say, whatever is written will reach me even if I sleep. And that belief changes you. A person who truly trusts Allah does not wake up frantic. They wake up grounded. They do not chase provision with panic. They pursue it with dignity. They do not compromise easily. They do not rush blindly. They move with confidence because their heart is not begging the world for security. This is why tawakkul attracts barakah. Barakah flows where reliance is sincere. When Allah sees a servant who does their part and then fully hands the outcome back to him, Allah takes over in ways the servant could never manage alone. Sometimes that means opening doors. Sometimes it means closing paths that looked promising but were harmful. Sometimes it means delaying something until it no longer harms your faith. All of that is Allah responding to trust. If you cannot trust Allah while you sleep, you will never fully trust Him while you are awake. The night reveals whether your reliance is words or reality. So tonight, when you recite these ayat, do not rush them. Let them slow your heart. Let them quiet your fears. Let them remind you that Allah is awake when you sleep, aware when you are unaware, and in control when you are not. Sleep knowing this. The one who controls provision does not need your worry, he needs your trust. 3. These ayat remind you who actually provides. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest causes of anxiety is forgetting who is truly in control. We begin to believe that our job provides for us, that our business sustains us, that a person's approval secures our future. Slowly, without realizing it, the heart shifts. Effort becomes worship. Means become the source. Allah becomes secondary. Then fear enters. Because when you rely on something created, you live in constant fear of losing it. These ayat bring the heart back to reality. They remind you that all means are powerless without Allah's permission. A job is only a door. A business is only a tool. A connection is only a cause. None of them move unless Allah allows them to move. When you recite these ayat before sleep, you are resetting your belief system. You are reminding yourself that Allah provided for you before you had a career, before you had experience, before you had plans. He provided for you when you were helpless, and He can provide for you now. This realization removes panic from the heart. Panic comes when people believe their future depends entirely on their performance. They fear mistakes, they fear loss, they fear not being enough. That pressure suffocates the soul. But when you know that Allah is Ar-Razzaq, the provider, your effort becomes lighter. You still strive, but you are no longer enslaved by outcomes. These ayat teach the heart that provision is not random. It is measured, it is intentional, it is perfectly timed. Allah does not forget His servants. Allah does not miscalculate. Allah does not run out. Sometimes provision arrives in ways you recognize. Sometimes it arrives in ways you only understand years later. Sometimes Allah gives you exactly what you asked for. Other times He gives you what you actually needed. When people say, "My rizq surprised me," it is often because they expected Allah to provide only through one path. They boxed Allah into their limited imagination. These ayat break that limitation. They remind you that Allah can create openings where there were none, solutions where there seem to be dead ends, and relief from directions you never considered. But here is an important truth. Allah often changes the person before He changes their provision. He adjusts your patience. He adjusts your expectations. He adjusts your priorities. He adjusts your attachment to the dunya. Only then does the outward situation shift. Because if Allah gave you more while your heart was still restless, it would have increased your stress instead of your gratitude. When you sleep after reciting these ayat, your heart rests knowing that provision is not chasing you, it is written for you. You stop obsessing over timing. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop measuring yourself by what people see. And that inner calm affects your actions the next day. You speak with more confidence. You choose with more wisdom. You walk away from desperation. You trust that what is meant for you will reach you without humiliation. This is why the reminder of who provides is so powerful at night. You are not just reciting words, you are correcting beliefs that may have quietly drifted. You are realigning your heart with truth before unconsciousness takes over. And when the heart sleeps upon truth, Allah strengthens it upon waking. Remember this, the world only delivers what Allah allows. The means only work by Allah's command. And the servant who remembers this sleeps peacefully while Allah manages what the servant never could. For Barakah is not speed, it is protection. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people think Barakah means fast results. They believe that if Allah blesses something, it must grow quickly, multiply immediately, and impress others. That is not how Barakah works. Barakah is not about how fast something increases, it is about how safely it lasts. You can earn quickly and lose everything just as quickly. You can rise rapidly and collapse without warning. Speed without protection destroys people. That is why Allah often slows things down, not to punish you, but to protect you. When you recite these ayat before sleep, you are asking Allah for protection over your efforts, not just increase in results. You are asking Him to guard what you earn, how you earn it, and what it does to your heart. Barakah protects your income from being wasted on harm. Barakah protects your wealth from becoming a source of arrogance. Barakah protects your success from pulling you away from Allah. Some people have more money than they can count, yet it brings them nothing but problems. Others have little, yet it stretches, benefits their families, and supports goodness. The difference is not effort, it is barakah. Barakah acts quietly. It does not announce itself. It reveals itself over time. It is seen when your expenses remain manageable. It is seen when emergencies do not destroy you. It is seen when what you have is enough, even when others have more. This is why asking Allah for barakah is more powerful than asking Him for sudden increase. Sudden increase without discipline leads to waste. Sudden increase without gratitude leads to arrogance. Sudden increase without protection leads to loss. Allah knows this about His servants. That is why He gives gradually, steadily, and with wisdom. Reciting Qur'an before sleep places your provision under Allah's care. It is a way of saying, "Oh Allah, do not just give me more, protect me from misusing what you give." Protection may come in ways you do not notice immediately. Allah may block a deal that looked profitable but carried harm. He may remove a desire that would have drained your resources. He may delay something until you are mature enough to handle it. At the time, you may feel disappointed. Later, you realize you were saved. Barakah also protects your heart from constant dissatisfaction. Without barakah, no amount is enough. With barakah, even modest provision feels sufficient. That inner sufficiency is priceless. It prevents greed. It prevents envy. It prevents you from measuring your worth by what you own. When you sleep after reciting these ayat, you sleep knowing that Allah is guarding what concerns you. You are no longer begging for speed. You are trusting Allah's pace. And Allah's pace is always safer than yours. Understand this clearly. Allah does not delay to deny you. He delays to preserve you. Barakah is Allah placing His care into your rizq. And anything Allah places His care into may grow slowly, but it grows safely, steadily, and without regret. So do not rush provision. Ask for protection, because when Allah protects what you have, you are already ahead of those who have more, but live in fear of losing it. 5. The Qur'an reprograms your subconscious. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people underestimate what happens to the heart just before sleep. The last thoughts you carry into the night do not disappear. They sink deep. They settle into the subconscious. They shape how you wake, how you think, and how you react. This is why anxiety grows at night. During the day, distractions keep fear quiet. At night, the mind speaks freely. Regrets surface. Worries replay. Future fears grow louder. And when a person sleeps in that state, they wake up already exhausted before the day even begins. The Qur'an interrupts this cycle. When you recite these ayat before sleep, you are feeding your subconscious truth instead of fear. You are reminding your inner self of Allah's presence, Allah's power, and Allah's promise. The heart listens even when the mind is tired. These ayat calm the nervous system. They slow racing thoughts. They replace panic with remembrance. And over time, this changes how you respond to life. You begin to wake with less tension. You make decisions with more patience. You react with less desperation. You stop assuming the worst. This is not coincidence. This is the Qur'an doing what it was sent to do, heal. Many people chase motivation, affirmation, and positivity from everywhere except the Qur'an. Yet nothing stabilizes the heart like Allah's words. Because the one who created the heart knows exactly how to settle it. When your subconscious is filled with fear, you chase provision aggressively. You cut corners. You compromise. You rush outcomes. Fear makes people short-sighted. But when your subconscious is filled with remembrance, you move differently. You become steady. You wait when waiting is wiser. You walk away when something feels wrong. You trust the process without losing effort. That internal stability attracts barakah. Allah does not bless panic-driven pursuit. He blesses calm, disciplined, striving, rooted in trust. When your heart is settled, your actions become cleaner, and clean actions carry more blessing. Reciting Qur'an before sleep is not about immediate results, it is about long-term transformation. Night after night, the heart absorbs these reminders. Slowly, fear loses its grip, greed weakens, comparison fades, gratitude strengthens, and one day you realize something has changed. You are no longer reacting to life, you are responding with wisdom. Provision often increases not because Allah suddenly decided to give, but because you became capable of handling it without losing yourself. That is the unseen work of the Qur'an. So tonight, choose what you feed your subconscious. Fear will always find you if you let it. But the Qur'an anchors you before fear can take root. Sleep with Allah's words. Let them do their work while you rest. 6. Sincerity matters more than repetition. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest mistakes people make with acts of worship is turning them into rituals without hearts. The tongue moves, but the soul is absent. The words are correct, but the connection is missing. Allah is not impressed by quantity. He is moved by sincerity. You can recite many ayat and feel nothing, or you can recite a few with a heart fully present and be changed by them. The difference is not the words. The difference is the state of the heart. When you read these ayat before sleep, do not rush them as if you are completing a task. Do not treat them like a formula that guarantees an outcome. That mindset empties worship of its meaning. You are not testing Allah. You are not placing Him under obligation. You are placing yourself under humility. Sincerity means you recite because you believe. You recite because you need Allah, not because you want to control results. You recite because you trust His wisdom, even if the outcome looks different from what you hoped. Allah looks at the heart before He looks at the tongue. If the heart is distracted, proud, or demanding, the action loses weight. But if the heart is humble, hopeful, and sincere, even a small act becomes heavy with barakah. This is why some people see change quickly while others feel nothing even though they do the same actions. It is not favoritism, it is sincerity. Sincerity slows you down. It makes you reflect on the meanings. It makes you pause between ayat. It makes you aware that you are speaking the words of Allah, not reciting poetry. When sincerity enters worship, the ego leaves. And when the ego leaves, Allah's help draws near. Sincerity also protects you from disappointment. When you worship Allah sincerely, you are content with His response, whatever form it takes. You are not measuring Allah's generosity by timing or appearance. You are trusting His choice. This is critical. Many people become discouraged because they expected worship to produce a specific result on their terms. When that does not happen, their motivation weakens. That is not sincerity, that is conditional faith. True sincerity says, "Oh Allah, I worship you because you are worthy, not because you owe me." And Allah never ignores a sincere heart. He may not always give what you ask for immediately, but He always gives what is best for your faith, your future, and your akhirah. When you sleep after sincere remembrance, your heart is light. There is no frustration, no bargaining, no silent resentment, just trust. And trust is one of the strongest doors to barakah. So tonight, recite these ayat slowly. Let them humble you, let them soften you, let them remind you who you are and who Allah is. One sincere moment with Allah is worth more than a lifetime of rushed actions. 7. Sleep with the Qur'an, wake with direction. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people ask Allah for signs, clarity, and direction, yet they go to sleep disconnected from Him. Then they wonder why their hearts feel lost when they wake. Direction does not always come as a loud answer. Often it comes as quiet alignment. When you sleep after reciting Qur'an, You are placing your heart under Allah's guidance at the most vulnerable time, when your defenses are down and your soul is open. That is when Allah softens what needs softening and straightens what needs straightening. You may not wake up to a miracle. You may wake up to something far more valuable, a settled heart. You wake up less reactive. You wake up less confused. You wake up with a clearer sense of what feels right and what feels wrong. This is Allah guiding you internally. Many wrong decisions are not made because people lack intelligence. They are made because people are emotionally unsettled. Fear, desire, and pressure distort judgment. Qur'an before sleep reduces that distortion. Allah adjusts your path while you rest. He removes attachments that were quietly harming you. He weakens desires that were pulling you off course. He strengthens resolve in areas where you were inconsistent. He places hesitation where something looked attractive but was dangerous. This is guidance in action. Over time, you notice that you stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing people who were never meant to stay. You stop pursuing paths that drain your faith. You begin to choose peace over chaos, even if it costs you something temporarily. That is not loss. That is Allah steering you away from regret. And here is a truth many people only realize later in life. The greatest provision is not wealth. The greatest provision is direction. A person with money and no direction destroys themselves. A person with direction eventually finds what they need without losing their soul. When you sleep with Qur'an, Allah shapes your future quietly. You may not see immediate changes, but you will feel them. Your reactions change. Your priorities shift. Your tolerance for what displeases Allah decreases. And one day, you will look back and realize that many disasters never happened not because you were lucky, but because Allah redirected you when you were asleep. So tonight, do not underestimate this simple act. Recite these ayat, not expecting fireworks, but trusting transformation. Sleep with Allah's words on your tongue. Wake with His guidance in your heart. My beloved brothers and sisters, before you sleep tonight, do not carry the weight of tomorrow into your bed. That burden was never meant for your heart. You have done what you could today. You made effort, you tried, you endured. Now return the rest to Allah. Do not ask Allah to prove His generosity to you. Ask Him to place barakah in what He gives, peace in your heart, and guidance in your choices. Recite these ayat, not as a transaction, but as trust. Not to demand wealth, but to surrender control. Not to rush outcomes, but to align your heart with the one who controls all outcomes. If Allah gives you more, thank Him. If Allah delays, trust Him. If Allah redirects you, follow Him. Because a heart connected to Allah is never deprived, even if the hands are empty. Sleep knowing this. Allah is aware, Allah is capable, and Allah is closer than you think. And when morning comes, whatever awaits you will arrive by His wisdom, not by chance. Leave the night to Allah and let Him surprise you in the way that is best.